Well, it's week 9 of the UPL already. Only 4 games left to go. This time, the Gen 7 Garchomps face off against the final unique opponent of the regular season, the Tacoma Togedemarus, led by Darentol. After this game, we'll actually be doing 3 rematches of our first 3 opponents in our division, so that'll be fun. Currently, we're 4-4 in the standings, and we're looking to go positive for the first time this season, hopefully. And if we do, we will be tied in competition for the second place playoff spot in the division that we're in. So success in this battle is kind of key to being able to win playoffs at all, or even being able to get into playoffs at all. But it's not going to be very easy. Now, Darentol's team has not been that successful. He's currently 1-7 in the standings. However, he's played like a boss. I don't know how he has dropped so many games because he has one of the most painful defensive cores I have ever had to prep against. Crobat, Mega Venusaur, and Umbreon combined, and Jirachi, just, it's hard. It's so hard to plan for, to be able to have a team that can actually break all of the different things if he brings them defensively. We're just horrifically afraid of a couple different things he can do. Crobat outspeeds everything on my team. If he runs an offensive variant with Steel Wing, that's a hard counter to Mega Diancie. It can kill it regardless of what I try to run. Calm Mind Jirachi is literally unbeatable. The only 2 things that I have that can sort of fight Jirachi are Alolan Marowak, which I cannot bring. And the reason why? He has 2 Pokemon whose main offensive move is Foul Play, and he is definitely bringing Umbreon at least. He may also bring Sableye, I don't know. Lucario can also kill it. Mega Venusaur gets Knockoff and is way faster. Will definitely kill it. Ninetales gets Dark Pulse. Garchomp, it's Garchomp. It's just not a good Mon in this particular game, even if it does sort of deal with Jirachi. But even Jirachi gets Shadow Ball, so Alolan Marowak is kind of completely out here. Now, that leaves kind of Swampert as the next thing. However, he's got a lot of grass coverage for Swampert. Swampert doesn't help me against the majority of his team, so I'm also not going to be bringing Swampert. That really just leaves Greninja, and we'll talk about this Greninja set that we're going to be running to try to counter it. Also, Lucario's a big deal. He could be running it physical or special. It also gets Bullet Punch, so that's another problem for Diancie, and we're going to have something to deal with that as well. He can also run a Sunset, and I think against the Mons that I usually bring, Sun is pretty useful, so I'm going to be expecting that to happen. Also, his best counter to Celesteela, and really one of his only counters to Celesteela, is that Ninetales. So I really expect to see Sun. Scarf Chomp is also something I thought a lot about. However, there are plenty of ways for me to counter Scarf Chomp, so we'll talk about those when we get to them. Anyway, let's get into the actual team build, see how we're going to deal with this team. First off, I'm going to be bringing Licky Licky. It doesn't feel like, when you look at the stats, that this thing has done much this season, besides just explode. But every time it's done it for a good effect. It's gotten key damage on a Mon, or it's killed something, or it's just generally been a pain in the neck. So I'm bringing it again. We're going to be running Earthquake and Knockoff. Those are both techs for Jirachi that I need to have. Otherwise, he's going to be sitting there, and his main goal is to hit Explosion or use Body Slam repeatedly. He's going to be running Silk Scarf to maximize the damage off of Body Slam, and also he's going to be running the ability Cloud 9 to potentially shut down that Ninetales. So the idea is that I can switch in on that Ninetales, block a bunch of moves, potentially even switch in on it trying to do a Solar Beam, and then have it waste an entire turn. That's the goal with this particular set. Explosion's going to do a huge chunk of damage to anything that's not Sableye, potentially just outright killing Umbreon, Mega Venusaur, and the like. Moving on, we got Celesteela. We're going to be running Bulky Special this time around. The main coverage moves, Flamethrower is going to be there for Lucario and the Jirachi, because I can't really hit the Jirachi with anything else on the special side. Air Slash is going to be there as general coverage, and also for Mega Venusaur. Flyinium Z Air Slash is one of the moves that I have to be able to potentially OHKO the Venusaur if it's fully defense invested, which I highly suspect that it will be. That's why I'm running Flying EMZ. I thought about Fire EMZ. I thought about other items, but Flying EMZ for the Venusaur, that's kind of what had to happen. The last move offensively is going to be Hidden Power Ice. That can OHKO the Garchomp, and Celesteela can switch in on literally any move that the Garchomp can do. Even a Fire Z isn't going to hurt Celesteela enough that it can't kill it with Hidden Power Ice. The final move, I debated for some time between Leech Seed and Giga Drain. Giga Drain allows me to hit the Rotom Wash, which I'm very certain is coming, and it allows me to hit the Wishy Washy as well. However, Leech Seed allows me to potentially shut down Jirachi and prevent Umbreon from just sitting in my face. So I think Leech Seed over the long game will actually give me more HP return and more damage overall. Also, this allows me to potentially feed a little bit more HP into other Mons if they happen to get low. Next, we're going to finally be debuting Virizion. It only took 9 weeks for us to find a game where we could use Virizion. But when we're looking at a team and we're trying to deal with a bunch of threats, one of the main things I needed was a fighting type, and I really didn't need Como-O for this particular game. I needed Virizion. So we're running Zen Headbutt, Close Combat, Leaf Blade with Swords Dance. The idea behind this set up a Swords Dance against the Umbreon or the Sableye. The Sableye would have to switch in. Basically, we set up against the Umbreon, potentially use Swords Dance twice, and then we just sweep his entire team as long as he doesn't have Crobat. So we do have to get rid of Crobat in order for this build to work. We're going to be running max speed. That way we can outrun anything he's got. I probably could have dialed the speed back down just a little bit just to outrun a Jolly Garchomp. I didn't really think about it, but that was an optimization I could have made. The Lumberry is mostly there if I do set up a sweep, and then Sableye comes in and tries to Prankster Will-O-Wisp me. That'll prevent that from happening. We do need 2 Swords Dances to guarantee a close combat kill on any variant of Jirachi. So we are looking to do 2 Swords Dances before we try to sweep. That also is kind of required to kill Mega Venusaur from some builds. It just depends on what he's actually got going on there. We could also get a justified boost if we switch in at the right time against Umbreon. However, because we're running max attack, Virizion's defense is so horrifically low, that actually does way more damage to Virizion than you would think. And a combination between that one and one when we're at +3 is going to kill us. So that's something to be careful about. Next, we're bringing Diancie. Diancie's just really good against a whole lot of different Mons that he has, especially against the Umbreon. It's one of our main ways to force that out. We're going to be running the standard coverage moves. Earth Power obviously is going to be there primarily to hit Jirachi and potentially Lucario if it switches in on a Moonblast, which I don't see that ever happening because Moonblast would shred the Lucario anyway. We are running Heal Bell as the last move because we do need to run Heal Bell. I thought about running it on the Licky Licky, but I needed the Earthquake and I needed the other move slots. Heal Bell is going to be on here to get rid of burns on key Mons such as Virizion. Next, we're going to be running a very, very, very weird build. This is going to be tanky Thunderous T, full physical tank, full defense, full HP. The idea here is that this particular Mon can handle 2 things that I am very, very scared of. The Crobat and the Garchomp. The Garchomp cannot kill this with any move. It cannot 2-hit kill this with any move beyond Outrage. That's the only thing that will work. And I don't think he's going to do that. If he does do Outrage, I can switch into Diancie and I can force him out. He can also kill the Crobat very easily with Thunderbolt. Crobat also cannot really hit Thunderous T with anything that will 2-kill it, and I can easily Thunderbolt him. Thunder Wave is on there to paralyze just anything. Just the Jirachi would be nice to paralyze. Venusaur, Lucario, Ninetales, Leafeon, any of them. So we're going to spread paralysis, check those 2 Mons if he brings them, and then Taunt is basically there to shut down Umbreon and potentially to stop Jirachi from Calm Minding in my face because I won't be able to do much damage to a Jirachi. And in the last slot, so this is my main idea to counter Jirachi and a couple other things on his team. This is going to be Specs Greninja. Max special attack, max speed, obviously. The idea behind this particular variant of Greninja is that Ice Beam will kill Garchomp through Yachi Berry, and I would expect that that might be the case. Scarf Garchomp, not a big deal, because Scarf Garchomp only kills Greninja with one move. That's Outrage, and if he does that, we switch into Diancie, we revenge kill it, easy. I'm fine with sacrificing Greninja to kill the Garchomp if he brings that. Dark Pulse is obviously there to hit most things for a ton of damage, but it kills non-specially defensive invested Jirachis, and even ones that are, it'll 2-hit kill them, even through one Calm Mind. Hydro Pump is just kind of there as a general coverage move if I need a little bit more damage than Dark Pulse. The last move is going to be Haze. I thought of a couple of other moves that I might want to run, but it turned out that Haze was the one I went with. The reasoning behind that is, beyond this, I have no way of stopping Calm Mind Jirachi on this team. I recognize that that's the case. If he starts setting up Calm Minds, I'm going to throw Greninja out, use Haze, hopefully he'll use some sort of a coverage move to take me out, and then he'll be sans Calm Minds. I can switch in something and threaten it out. That's the only thing I've got against the Jirachi. So that's the overall goal here. That's the team that I'm bringing. A bunch of weird builds this time around. But like I said, this was a very hard team to build against. In fact, this was the most difficult battle I have prepped against so far this entire season. I have had to put more time and thought into this than any other one. So at the very least, Darrental, you know how to build a team really well. So I give you props for that. Anyway, let's get into the battle portion of the video and see how it worked out. Welcome to the battle portion of the video. First thoughts when I'm looking at his team: no Chomp, no Bat, no Lucario, and he's also brought Sun, so I kind of predicted the Sun, but not seeing Bat, not seeing Chomp, not seeing Lucario, I am very, very happy. My Diancie is very, very happy. Jirachi is really the biggest pain. He does have all 4 of the big tanks that I was kind of worried about, though, so that's a bit of a problem. But looking at his team, I see that the 3 main things that I brought Thundurus T to counter are not there. So my idea here is, hey, I'll send out Thundurus T. I'll see if I can't get a couple paras, maybe throw a Taunt off, throw a Thunderbolt out, switch into something else. I don't really need Thundurus T too badly in this particular game. So I'm going to go ahead and lead with that. He's going to lead with Mega Venusaur. I'm going to go for the Paralysis. And he will eat that Paralysis and be paralyzed, so lucky me. I'm going to go for a Taunt, expecting him to switch into Umbreon maybe. He does go for a knockoff and gets my leftovers, but it does literally no damage. Now, here, I'm going to go ahead and switch out into Celesteela. I don't really see any reason why not to. Sludge Bomb is going to happen. That's not going to be too big of a deal. I'm going to go Air Slash, expecting he might stay in, because he doesn't know what my set's going to be. He does switch into the Rotom, though, eats the Air Slash pretty well. However, I can tell based on this that the Rotom is invested in HP and defense. So that is something that's good to note for later on in the game. I don't have a lot of physical attack mons, and thanks to that little bit of extra chip damage on HP, Virizion can now pretty easily take him out with Leaf Blade later on. Obviously, I'm going to switch out here. Can't leave Celesteela in. I'm going to go right back into Thundurus. He's going to go for Reflect, which doesn't really matter at this point in the game. I'm going to Taunt onto that Umbreon. Here, I make a very large mistake. Umbreon, its usual only offensive move is Foul Play. If I'm going to switch into something here to force that Umbreon out, especially because it has Taunt and I want to prevent it from being able to use Heal Bell, I should be switching into Diancie. Because he has Reflect up, there's no reason to switch into the Virizion. I don't know how long his Reflect is going to last because I don't know what item is on the Rotom yet. Instead, for some reason, I decided to switch into Licky Licky, expecting that I could, I don't know, start body slamming against his team. But again, number 1, he's got Reflect up, and number 2, it's an Umbreon, and it's got Foul Play, so there really wasn't any reason for me to do this. Also, I'm now kind of showing my trump card of Cloud9, which I kind of wanted to keep a secret because I don't think a lot of people know that Licky Licky gets Cloud9. So that's kind of a pain in the ass. So obviously that was kind of a mistake. I switched into Diancie immediately afterwards. Go ahead and Mega. I'm expecting the Jirachi to come in to force me out, so I go for Earth Power, but he is ballsy and he stays right on in there. Thinking he might do it again, so I go ahead and go for the Moonblast. It still does a huge chunk of damage to Mega Venusaur, considering, but here I realized that Mega Venusaur is fully defense invested, so that's why it did so much damage. That's something to kind of note. I am going to need two Swords Dances on Virizion to be able to deal with this thing, which will be relevant later on. So obviously I'm going to switch out. Can't lose this guy. Just go right back into Thundy. Go for the Taunt, expecting him to switch out, or potentially go for Leech Seed, but Sludge Bomb is going to come down. I will go for the Paralysis. He predicts it, goes into Rotom, absorbs that. Now my thought is, hey, Thundy T is pretty much going to go down here. I don't really have any use for him, so I'm just going to spam Thunderbolt until he dies from poison. I do spam Thunderbolt into that Ninetales, and then I go down. So he does have Sun up now. I'm going to switch into my Licky Licky because that's my best counter to this, and I'm just going to go for a Body Slam. However, I kind of forgot Ninetales is fast, and it has Will-O-Wisp. So he's going to hit me with that, and he's going to easily survive that hit. Otherwise, it was a roll to potentially kill the Ninetales there, so that's what I was going for. But at this point, the Licky is kind of worthless. He's a physical attacker. He's not going to be able to do enough damage to Jirachi. The explosion's not going to hurt very much. I'm going to leave him in. My thought here is I'm just going to sacrifice him. I go for the knockoff, but thinking he might switch into something else, but he goes into Venusaur. I go for a Body Slam. That doesn't really do any damage. So my thought is, hey, blow myself up here. It's my only move that I'm going to have left to do. Going to do some damage. Boom. I am now 2 Mons down. I haven't really gotten much work done. So I'm going to go ahead and send out Celesteela. I know that he's going to switch out of this. Probably into the Umbreon, which he does do. Go for the Air Slash. Linium Z isn't going to do enough damage here. Umbreon is kind of specially defensive, like severely specially defensive, just by nature. So we're going to do that. We're going to go for the Leech Seed, expecting him to stay in. Gain a little bit of damage and HP off of that. And he goes into Jirachi, who eats the Air Slash. Now, had the sunlight stayed up, this would have turned out very differently, but it didn't. So he goes ahead and he does what I was afraid of. He goes for a Calm Mind. We go for our Flamethrower, obviously, and it does almost no damage. And he's got leftovers. So we know that we have to switch out. He's going to Calm Mind again. There's no way that he's not going to do it. So my thought here is, hey, I've got to send Greninja in or I lose the game. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click Haze. And I'm going to continue clicking Haze until he either switches out or he kills Greninja. That's my thought process. He goes ahead and he switches into Umbreon. We do hit that Haze. I'm going to go ahead and switch into the Virizion. Virizion eats the Toxic, gets rid of the Lumberry. So thanks to the Lumberry, we were able to basically switch in Virizion for free. My idea here with Virizion is, if I switch it in against this Umbreon, I'm going to either get a boost from Foul Play, or I'm going to be able to Swords Dance, and I'll be able to kill something. I have to get rid of something right now. I cannot let him continue to have 6 different things to pivot into. So we're going to go ahead and go for that Swords Dance. He's going to go for a Wish, and then we're going to go ahead and go for the second Swords Dance, because we need it against that Venusaur. Now, had we clicked Zen Headbutt there, we would have killed the Venusaur, but we didn't know that's what he was going to switch into, so it doesn't matter. We will take the Venusaur out, though, with double Zen Headbutts here. And then he goes into Ninetales. Now, this was his only option at this point. Had he not gone into Ninetales, I would have swept through his entire team with this Virizion right now. Because he's got this, though, the Chlorophyll on the Leafeon is going to allow it to outspeed me, and he's going to be able to take out the Virizion. But I'm still going to get 2 Mons out of it, and one of them is Mega Venusaur, so that's a bonus. Now here, I could have switched out, but I did not need to. I still have a couple of Mons that can deal with that Umbreon. I don't have an opportunity to set up from 34% HP against anything else on his team. He's also got that Rotom, which can put up Reflect, and the Jirachi is just going to kill me later on. I might be able to do some damage to it, but not enough. So I go ahead and let him go down. I also can't really afford to let anything else eat that Breakneck Blitz that I knew he was going to bring along. So we go into Celesteela, go for a Flamethrower. Doesn't do a whole lot of damage. So knowing that the Umbreon is going for Wish here, I'm going to go ahead and switch out into Diancie to attempt to force the Umbreon out. However, I expect that he's going to switch out here into something else to feed that Wish to. So I'm going to go into Greninja. But he doesn't do that. Instead, he goes for the Toxic, kind of reading my play. And, I mean, that sucks. So I'm going to go ahead and go right back out into Celesteela. And go for a Leech Seed. I probably should have just gone into Diancie here. Not really sure why I didn't do that. But there you go. I did switch into Diancie here, though. I'm going to go for Moonblast. I'm going to eat that Hydro Pump because it can't kill me as long as I get the special attack drop. Also, at this point, I'm kind of desperate. I'm losing this game. I don't really have full control over what's going on. So I really had to go for that roll. He's going to switch. Jirachi's going to eat that Moonblast. I'm going to have to switch out here, going into the Greninja to attempt to scare him away. Now, he shows me Flash Cannon there. I know now that he's got Flash Cannon, and he's probably got Psychic, because Psychic was pretty good against most of my team. So that's 3 of his moves. I could reasonably assume that the third move is likely a Grass-type move. So my thought is, I'm just going to stay in here. I'm going to attempt to kill that thing. I'll switch into the Celesteela and attempt to get some boost off of it. However, he goes for the Substitute. So now I know all 4 moves that this thing has. It does not have a grass coverage move. In fact, it does not have any coverage move to deal with the Greninja at all, which is very, very good for me. So I could theoretically, because it does not have Wish, beat this Jirachi in a one-on-one with the Celesteela, even through Calm Mind. So that's something I'm kind of like thinking about later on in the game. Anyway, we're going to go ahead. We're going to hit Dark Pulse again. It's not going to do anything to the Umbreon. Go ahead and switch out into our Steela. I suspect here that he's actually going to go into the Jirachi. However, either way, I probably should have gone Leech Seed at this point. And instead I go for the Flamethrower, expecting that I might just be able to kill the Jirachi straight up. However, he doesn't go into that. I expected the Wish Pass. He didn't do it. So now I go for the Leech Seed, attempting to get a little bit of my HP back. And my thought here is, hey, Celesteela might go down. I'm going to go ahead and go with Supersonic Sky Strike. That's going to take the Umbreon under 50%. Go ahead and go for the Air Slash. Now, I expected him to stay in here, potentially. However, had he done so, I would have gained a lot of HP back on Leech Seed. And I could have potentially flinched him and maybe killed him. But he's going to go ahead and he's going to switch out into the Jirachi and pass the Wish on. However, I kind of think that that might be the case anyway. So I go ahead and go out into the Greninja. So I'm going to click Dark Pulse here. It is going to wipe out the Leafeon. Leafeon is very low special defense, so that's a pretty easy kill there. And we're also going to clean up this Rotom Wash. However, we're going to die to Toxic in return. Go into Diancie. He's going to go into the Jirachi. I'm just going to go for an Earth Power because that's my only option at this point. And his Psychic's going to end Diancie. So, Celesteela comes in here, and the end of this game was really, really weird for me. So, my thought here is, hey, he could go for the Calm Mind. I should have thought about that. What I did know is I needed a little bit more HP. I needed to be around 25% by the end of the Jirachi being dead, or else the Umbreon would probably kill me with foul play. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the Leech Seed here. That's going to gain me a little bit of HP back. And then I'm going to go for a Flamethrower. That guarantees the kill on the Jirachi, and now with the special attack boost, there's no way that this Umbreon is going to be able to survive because it does not have Protect. And that is the game. A 3% win with the very last Mon. So Darren Toll took me like right down to the wire. It was a very, very exciting game for me to play. I don't know if I went through it very well in the video, but hopefully you guys enjoyed watching it. So that gives us 5-4. Very, very good game to Darren Toll. Very good game. Very good prep. Good predicts. I felt like he played way better in that game than I did because I made some very, very, very large mistakes that very, very nearly cost me that game. So GG, well played. Looking forward to playing against you maybe next season. Anyway, that's it for this battle video. Peace out.